Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Grabbing the holidays by the boughs with Duluth. Step 1. Hire a mall Santa to handle snow removal.
Ho, ho, ho! My sciatica!
Step 2. Hit Duluth Trading and load up on fire hose pants, buck naked underwear, pocket pack bibs, free swinging flannel, and all kinds of ingenious gear you won't find anywhere else. Grab the holidays by the boughs and shop Duluth Trading, online and in store.
I am Angellics, and welcome to Object Cafe, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He is a poet, an author, as well as a speaker too, and no other than Mr. Peter Gunn.
Thank you for having me, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Peter, once again. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Well, I'm a creator, poet, a composer, the mind behind the music group, the Angellics, and LLP, Linked Lyrical Poetry. At my core, I'm an entrepreneur, a builder, and an awakener. My work is a fusion of music, myth, and, well, message. A lot of everything I create is designed to shake people out of their sleepwalking state, remind them that they're in the Matrix.
Yes, they are in the Matrix, and thank you so much for reminding us that we are in the Matrix, Mr. Peter. Thank you. And today let's talk about your writing process of all your books that are available on Amazon. Across all your books, where do your ideas most commonly begin? Is it a character's voice, philosophical question, or an image, or something else entirely?
Well, I work from a basis of the unrepresented feminine in like the epics, because when I had my daughter in 2010, I started looking around for books that I could get for her, because I enjoyed the classics like Beowulf, the Aeon, the Odyssey. And of course, every parent wants to enroll their children in the stuff they enroll, at least expose them to. But then I realized, why would a young girl want to read this? Where's the feminine represented? I mean, there are a lot of people that will argue with me, like, yeah, I mean, they were telling her Troy in the Odyssey, but she just had a little bit part. We need to know more about her. There was the sirens, but there again, they were feminine, but they're also, demons in a way. Beowulf, I mean, the female was a demon. So it's not very favorable portrayal of the feminine, and they need to be allowed to be put into leading roles, not just as additions in the story.
You've likely had more ideas than you could write. How do you know which one is the next book, the idea that demands to be written now?
I go from intuition, but my intuition is very much pushed by my connectedness to the spiritual world. So I'll get what I call, refer to as downloads. So sometimes, just to give you an example, there's one time when I was trying to go to sleep, I was very tired, and I got one of my downloads, and I knew I wouldn't be able to go to sleep until I wrote it down, and I had to write it down. But those downloads are what pushes me to do these things that I do. So in a way, all my writing is from the spiritual world. I'm just a conduit.
Mr. Peter, tell us, looking back, is there a through line, a central theme, question, or obsession that connect all your books, even if you were not aware of at that time?
Well, I see a connectedness in history. They're telling us the same story over and over and over and over. Let's look at just basically the flood myth. It's not just in the Catholic in the book, in the Catholic faith. There's I believe there's 9 other religions that also have a flood myth, and the similarities are ridiculous. So they're trying to tell us something that actually happened, and people need to be aware of it. And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do is to bring myth into, so we say, less legend and more into modern day.
In a modern day,
So people are aware of it, yes.
On ritual and discipline, Mr. Peter, what does your writing routine look like when you are deep in a manuscript? Are there unusual rituals, tools, or environmental condition you rely on?
Well, with me, I'll get my morning workout done, and then I'll go into a meditative state for at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Where then it allows me to help you focus, because you have your brain in the proper brain wave capacity, so then you can write properly. And it helps me connect. It's usually when this happens about 3 a.m. when I'm connected. And a lot of people also say that's when the veil between the mortal world and the spiritual world is also the thinnest. They call it the witching hour, I believe.
The witching hour. That's a good one, Mr. Peter. How do you approach the blank page? Do you have a specific method for getting started each day, or especially when motivation is low?
I look for where there's misrepresentation, or shall we say underrepresentation in literature, like with the feminine. That was why I decided to go with that, because it was underrepresented, and in a way it almost didn't exist, and it needed to be brought into the century, really.
So, Mr. Peter, how do you approach, or how do you track your progress on a book? Are you the strict word count person, or do you work in a scenes or chapter? How is its method change over time?
Well, I think a lot of artists that, and they'll understand this when I say this, that are connected to the muse. There are times when you don't create because the connection to the muse is not giving you new information. So you don't create. So you'll put down that book for 6 months and you won't make any progress on it. And that happens with a lot of artists. Same thing with the songwriters, singers. It's one of those things that happen. So you have to be willing to deal with it. To put a deadline on my stuff would be very hard, because there are times when I'll have to stop because nothing new is coming through.
Nothing new. Okay, on craft and construction, architect or gardener, do you meticulously outline, or do you discover the story by writing? Has your position on this spectrum shifted from your first book to your most recent?
Well, I would say I discovered the story by writing. Like with the Amazons, oddly enough, I wrote it backwards. I honestly wrote it backwards. I had the ending in my mind, and I wrote the entire book backwards to the beginning, from the ending. As odd as that sounds, yeah.
So, Mr. Peter, when you're writing a book, are you the person know already the ending of your story?
Like with the Corrupti's Curse, no, I didn't. I didn't write that backwards. I wrote that forwards, but also with the foremost in my mind was representing the feminine there again in a positive light, and allowing them to become the leader, but then also then to show that there has to be a synergy between the feminine and the masculine. They work hand in hand together.
Hand for sure, hand in hand. What is the hardest part of the writing process for every single time that you are doing any kind of book?
Well, with LLP, linked lyrical poetry, it's a very demanding mistress. It really is. There are times when you'll sit there for an hour and you only get a paragraph down. That's normal with LLP. If any writer is going to attempt to write in this fashion, my hat goes off to you, because it's very time consuming, very demanding. And you just have to allow it for that, really. So a book that might take a year can double or triple the time. Really can.
Triple the time. So how do
Yeah.
you locate? How do you locate or cultivate a distinct voice for a new project? Is it intuitive process or deliberately construction?
Well, I believe in allowing this fate to take over. So, you raise your sails on the ocean and allow the wind to take you where you need to be. I'll give you an example, like with the band, the Angellics, that I just formed this year. It was one of those things where I had no intention of going into a band. I myself had played guitar for about 6 years, but I had no intention of going into a band. It's one of the things that just worked out, because when I started to redo my audiobook, for the Amazons, I decided to make a soundtrack, and a soundtrack requires a band. And we did 10 songs together. We hit it off so well, we decided to put out an album. And it's just one of those things where, like I said, put your boat out the water, raise the sail, and see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Do your stories tend to be driven more by plot or by character? When one is not cooperating, how do you get them back in sync?
The character, or as we say, the personality of the character should determine the plot. So if they're apprehensive to war, the plot should then show it. If they're more of a adventurous type of person that goes on an adventure, then the plot should show it. It should go along with the character, because it's a part of the character, very much so. Otherwise, the plot fighting against the character the entire time, I don't think that'd be a very good read.
Yes, it's not good to read, for sure. How many drafts does a typical book go through for you? And what is the distinct purpose of its pass?
Well, with the Amazons, there were 8 complete rewrites, and the last 2 were LLP, and that was very difficult for me, because not only was it having to change the entire story format around, but then finding editors that are willing to work with it, because a lot of them don't want to edit poetry or don't understand it. So then, because a lot of editors are left brain, conservative. They're the type that they make good accountants, So it's either black or white with them. But with poetry and creative arts, that doesn't work out so well. So if I have to use a word or something to make it rhyme, that's not quite a word, they don't like that. It tends to make arguments. But it is what it is,
Mr. Peter, on challenges and evolution of your writing, which of your books was the most difficult to write, and what was the specific obstacle that made it so? What did you learn from that struggle?
Well, I would say LLP. Once I decided to go into that format and create it and go into that format, write the book in it, it was extremely time consuming. I had to allocate like at least an hour every day to that, just to try to push it through. And it was a constant struggle. And writing the second book right now, I actually had to take out about half of it, rewriting it. So it should have been done already, but unfortunately it's not. And it's one of those things where, any writer or author can understand this. You just have to start over and go from there and be willing to push it out again and never stop. Just keep pushing.
Keep pushing. Consistency is the key, people.
Yeah.
For anything that we are doing, that is the key to success. Consistency. And Mr. Peter, how has your writing process itself changed from your debut to now? What is one thing you do completely different or differently in one thing that has remained sacred?
Well, does it rhyme? Really? The rhyme is key through everything that I've written. when I started out in the indie market back in 2019, I quickly gained the nickname as the spellcaster because of my unique writing style, and everything rhymes. It sounds like it's someone casting a spell, but that's been consistent the entire time, and it's been very much a part of me. Even in the music that I write now, every song starts as a poem that rhymes very well, and it actually lends a lot of value to the music as well.
Rhyme, 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 especially in poetry. And at what stage do you first share your work with others, and how is crucial that feedback to your process?
Well, everybody has their beta readers, their group of beta readers that I'm sure they hold close, usually close family and friends at least. And I'll send it out even like the first page, like, hey, what do you think of this? And I think it's important for a lot of new authors out there to start doing that, is to quickly get feedback from others. And it's also important then in your beta readers to bring in people that you might not be that familiar with. So they're not friends, they're not family. They may be critical of you. And that is one of the most valuable tools, is somebody that's hypercritical of you. Evaluate why they be hypercritical, but then do they have a valid opinion? Is this what they're saying valid about the writing? It can make or break your book, really.
Yes. Evaluate. Evaluate people you're writing. And Mr. Peter, how do you finally know a manuscript is finished? Is it a feeling a deadline, or the work is simply taken from you?
I'm going to say none of my stuff is ever finished. I'm constantly getting new ideas in my head, new songs in my head, new ways to write it. So I'm going to say what you're seeing is just at that time when it was published is what was finished. But otherwise, it's never finished. It never is.
It's never finished because every time you're thinking something new you want to add.
Yes.
But, well, that's life, people. That's life of being an author. On connection and legacy of your writing, do you ever think about your potential reader while writing, or do you write purely for yourself until very end?
No, I think about the reader a lot. Would they enjoy this? That's why I'll bring in extra characters that add value to a story, and that they can identify with. Because just having a few base characters, the reader might not be able to identify with any of these people. So that's why you have a good variation of characters to bring in. So at least the reader can identify with one of them and actually grow fond of one of them at least.
Mr. Peter, what is the most surprising or unintended thing you have learned about yourself through the process of writing your books?
The emotional aspect. I've had people come to me and said my writings brought them to tears. Like with the Amazons, how the character's mother died, and it helped them remember how when their mother died, they had to take over. And it helped them to heal inside, and they thanked me. And then with the music, I've had people come to me and said it's so beautiful, it brought them to tears. There again, you have an emotional effect, especially in poetry,
Especially poetry, yes. It's something emotion will rise. How do your books get their titles? Do they come early and guide you, or are they the final puzzle piece?
They usually come early. Yeah, I mean, granted though, books titles can change towards the end because the entire story can change towards the end. So you have to be, as an author, you have to be willing to make changes on the fly all the time. With the song, the album cover, we changed it at the last minute. So it was one of those things where something happened and we decided to change it last minute, and just it is what it is, and just be willing to go with it.
Be willing, yes, definitely. And Mr. Peter, as a poet, author, as well as speaker, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Long-term goals are to wake up as many people as I possibly can. Short-term goals are finish the Amazons 2 and finish our next album next year.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Peter, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
I would say remember the old joke of how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. So, in other words, don't look at the elephant, just look at the one bite at a time when you have to do something like write a book. Everyone, for the most part, has, a lunch hour. Could you take 30 minutes of that lunch hour to start writing your book on your phone? Think about it.
Yes. Eat an elephant step by step. And Mr. Peter, thank you for the advice. And tell us, what will be your recommended book that influenced your journey, or books that influence your journey?
I would say A Primer for Poets by Gregory Orr, because this man not only is good at poetry, but he has a very sad backstory that he started poetry after a hunting accident where he accidentally shot his brother. So his heart is literally poured out into his poetry, this poor man. Yeah.
Wow, interesting. And thank you for that recommended book. Mr. Peter, what is like to release a book in the world? After spending a month's intimate time with it, is there a sense of loss, relief, or something else?
I would say it's a lot like a child. When you finally release your child out the world, whether they're 18 or they graduate college, you'll still get feedback from them. You're like, oh man, I raised them better than that. I know they could do better than that. And you feel the same way about your book. You're like, I know it could do better on the market. So you just look for ways to help it. The same with the child. Your book is your child. It really is.
Indeed. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Peter, I'm inviting you to please don't listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and my book 101 review in 5th season too, comedy 101 in 3rd season, and food 101 in 5th season as well, geography 101, love letters, Movie 101 review, music 101 of 4th season, science 101, sex 101 in 2nd season of my baby podcast, law 101, mental health 101, Bible verses 101, and this coming December, entrepreneur 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Peter, tell us, is there a dream project, a genre, a topic, a form you have not tackled yet, but feel is killing you? What holds you back from starting it?
Well, because the rest of the band that I'm with is currently in Germany, we would like to play live someday for a live audience. That's my dream project, really.
A dream project to be live singing or doing instrument?
Both. I play guitar and I sing.
Okay, good luck for that. And Mr. Peter Gunn, thank you so much for sharing your books to the world. Thank you so much for everything that you are doing, and thank you for your legacy to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your books, your advocacy, or any projects that you're doing right now?
If you're interested in the album, just go to your preferred music app, type in Hazing Hades, that's the name of the album, the name of the band is the Angellics, or go to www.petergunn.net to look at any of my projects that I'm currently working on.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Peter Gunn, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering music to come, more and more empowering books to come as well. So, Mr. Peter, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel.
Modicum people, see you soon.